Hello and welcome to our presentation. Our presentation is about media in general. So I would like to start off with a general definition of media. Media is the main means of mass communication, such as broadcasting, publishing, and the internet, regarded collectively. Presently, we have a general definition of media. Next up, it is appropriate to talk about the several types of media, since media loom large in our society nowadays. I would like to start with the first type of media, which is print media. Print media are divided in two parts, the non-periodical and the periodical print media. The non-periodical print media include literature like books, booklets, and so on. We have the periodical print media in form of newsletters, magazines, newspapers, etc., due to the fact that they are printed daily, weekly, and monthly. The second type, which are audio media, involve, for example, the compact disc digital audio, also called CD-DA, which is for the digital storage of music. Audio media also occurs in form of radio stations and smartphones. By way of example, we listen to news on the radio or listen to music on our smartphones, so we can say that we constantly use audio media on a daily basis. Video media is the third type of media and include VHS and VCD. VHS stands for Video Home System, which is there for recording on videotape cassettes. VCD means Video Compact Disc and is a home video format for audio and video storage. But VHS and VCD became obsolete. Today we use video media to watch movies in form of HD DVD, Blu-ray, and so on. Last but not least, we have the computer or internet media, that is also called information technology. But why it is called information technology? That's simple. Due to the fact that we can look up everything we need or like to know on the internet, such as smartphones coming new into the market, new clothes, recent news, and so on, we call the computer or internet media information technology. In today's society, computer media is the most popular type of media for most people, ever since social media loomed large.
A social media platform that has a really magnificent history is YouTube. It is the second largest search engine and gets visited by 1 billion unique users every month. Every minute over 100 hours of video material get uploaded and 6 billion hours are watched monthly. So how did YouTube manage to grow like this, and who came up with the idea behind it? On the 14th of February 2005, YouTube was brought to life, as its trademark, logo and domain were registered. Former PayPal employees Chad Hurley, Steve Chen and Jawed Karim developed the site. They were heavily influenced to do so because of two key events in 2004, as Karim has stated in an interview with USA Today in 2006. One of them being Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl, which was not to be found on the internet at the time, and the tsunami in the Indian Ocean. Some also say that the inability to share larger video files via email triggered the idea to build a video sharing platform as well. YouTube's beta site was launched shortly after the domain has been registered. The official launch took place on the 15th of December the same year. What is really interesting about the platform is the fast acquirement by Google in 2006. Google bought YouTube for $1.65 billion because the company saw the huge potential of the site. The three founders received Google stockings. Another important event in the history of YouTube is the impact it had on the Arab Spring in 2011. Through the videos posted by activists in the early stages of the movement, messages of freedom and democracy were spread, as well as protest and political commentary. The top videos discussing this topic received around 5.5 million views. This shows that YouTube was no longer a place for entertainment only, but also for political debates. Let us concentrate on a feature of YouTube that made many dreams come true next. YouTube offers a job opportunity for everyone. Today, over 1 million channels are in YouTube's partner program, which allows the channel's owner to make money by letting YouTube advertise on their channel. 45% of the advertising revenue goes to YouTube. The top 1,000 channels bring in $23,000 a month with advertising. Most partners get from 30 pennies to $2.50 per click. Adding product placement and merchandising, more and more people can make YouTube their full-time job. But how do you make your videos go viral? Some people say that going viral is not a strategy but an outcome. But there are still some factors that can make it more likely that your next video will go viral. First of all, shortness is key. Around 19% of people leave a video after the first 10 seconds. Also, it should be upbeat in order to evoke strong emotions in your viewers, which makes a video more shareable. It is also a big plus if your video is timely and involves current events or trends. Parodies of popular music videos, for example, have many views on YouTube. As the one putting out a video, you should try to be involved and engage with your audience. By doing so, you will gain their loyalty and interest, and you'll notice a fan base growing slowly after a while. Being informative in your video helps too, because it is naturally given that people want to perform better in everyday tasks and therefore like to watch tutorials, for example. Last but not least, you can try to inspire people with your videos. An audience always likes to hear about someone who found success or overcame a struggle. Interested in starting a YouTube channel after hearing about this? Go ahead. As YouTube's slogan says, broadcast yourself.
Whether it be YouTube, the international newspapers, the international magazines, or the radio broadcast, we find that today there's virulent propaganda about different ethnicities, minorities, religions, and races. But first of all, what is propaganda? Let's start from the beginning. Propaganda is derived from the root Latin word propagare, which means to spread or to propagate. Propaganda, by definition, is a form of communication influencing the attitude of a community by presenting only one side of an argument through the massive use of media. In short, propaganda is a basic method of mass mind control because of which the attitude of people changes mostly to the negative. It is important to know that because of propaganda today hundreds and thousands of people of different origins, cultures, and religions are suffering, such as from discrimination, racial abuse, intolerance, or social injustice. This happens because people get misguided by the false information the media often gives. To explain this phenomenon better, I have a well-known example for you. This boy's story has covered the front pages of almost every newspaper magazines in the past few months. His name is Ahmed Mohammed. He is 14 years old and is a high school student living in Texas. His parents are from Sudan and all follow the Islamic faith. This little boy has a huge passion for science and technology. So what he did was in October 2015, he built up a digital clock out of his pencil case. The next day, he went to his teacher and proudly presented it to her. However, the reaction of the teacher was more than surprising, because she stereotyped little Mohammed based on his Sudanese background and Islamic faith and falsely accused him of having brought a bump into school. Right after, Mohammed was taken handcuffed into the custody by the police officers. After all investigations, he was then released and could see his parents again, and he was even honored to meet the president, because obviously his reports were clear, so everything went fine at the end. But the point to be noted is that this 14-year-old boy was stereotyped and feared because of his background and his religious belief. This shows how media can change the attitude of people as it has done with the teacher, and this way can even ruin the lives of hundreds of human beings just for being different. One type of propaganda which is most commonly used by the media is the double standard. Double standard by definition is when two different labels are given for the same activity of that same individual. In other words, we have one man but two different labels. And one example for this is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela fought for the freedom of Africa against racism and against the white apartheid government so that he was imprisoned for 25 years. The British power who was ruling Africa at that time called Nelson Mandela and his followers as a troublemaker or even as a terrorist. Whereas on the other side he was seen as a freedom fighter or even as a patriot who was fighting for the peace of his country. So on one side he was called as a terrorist, on the other side as a freedom fighter. We had one man but two different labels, and this is double standard. Later on the 10th May 1994, Nelson Mandela becomes the president of New South Africa, and a few years later he even got the Nobel Prize for Peace. So imagine a man who was labeled as a terrorist later on for the same activity for which he was imprisoned got the Nobel Prize for Peace. Yet again, you can see the power of media which can convert a hero into a villain and vice versa. So depending about who is in power, the media acts in his favor and sends out misconceptions. Whoever is in power, his view turns out to be the gospel truth. For example, at the time of Mandela, the whites were in power. They said that Mandela would be a terrorist and the whole world agreed. But all information the media gives is not always the truth. Unfortunately, most of the people today are blindly following media which sends out misconceptions. So dear listeners, before you get any information, first of all check it up, do your own research, and then make an opinion and a decision. Thank you very much for your attention.